I just left my mother's house, and the silence in my car is louder than her rattling breath. This is no longer a story about a family argument. It's about a choice only I can make, and a verdict only you can deliver. On my left hand, I hold a doctor's report detailing my sister's medical neglect, the proof that could send her to jail and get my mother the care she needs tonight. In my right hand, I hold a single page from our mother's will. It leaves a life-changing inheritance to our estranged brother. But there's a clause. The inheritance vanishes the moment my sister is exposed. My mother's safety or my brother's future. Tell me, what would you do? My sister, Claire, has always seen our family as a kingdom and herself as the rightful queen. I was the quiet advisor. Our brother, Leo, was the distant, exiled duke. And our mother was the territory to be governed. For the past year, since mother's health began to decline, Claire has been the governor. She handles the finances, she speaks to the doctors, she manages the in-home care. It's just easier this way, she'd say, her efficiency a blade that cut off any offers of help. I agreed, because I believed her, because despite our differences, I believed she loved our mother. It's a mistake I will never make again. The pattern began with small things. Last month, I arrived from my weekly visit to find Mother confused and weak. Claire told me she'd been misplacing her heart medication again. She's just getting so forgetful, Claire had sighed, the picture of a burdened, loving daughter. I didn't question it until I was putting away a set of clean towels in the linen closet and found them. 3 full prescription bottles tucked behind a stack of old blankets. Her heart pills, not lost, hidden. I photographed them, put them back, and said nothing. Because what do you say? How do you accuse your own sister of something so monstrous without sounding like you've gone mad? The evidence for ruin began to build itself. Then came the finances. 3 years ago, Claire had sat at this same kitchen table, spreading out pink statements and legal forms. She'd explained with painstaking logic that granting her a durable power of attorney would simplify everything. It's so I can pay her bills directly, manage her accounts if she gets sick, she'd argued. It protects her. Our mother, who always hated paperwork, agreed with relief. And I, wanting to trust in my sister's competence, supported the decision. I see now it was never about protection. It was about control, about turning our mother from the head of our family into a dependent, a line item on a spreadsheet that Claire alone managed. It was a bloodless coup, executed with a fountain pen and a notary stamp. I can still hear her voice dripping with false concern. This just makes sure she's safe, that no one can take advantage of her. But who protects you from the protector? But the deepest cut, the one that explains the brother she is willing to destroy today, came 5 years ago. This isn't a new cruelty. It's just a new victim. Our brother Leo had a dream, a small one, a woodworking shop where he could build custom furniture. He had a business plan, a workshop space picked out, a list of potential clients. He just needed a small loan to get started, $20,000 for equipment. He came to us, to the family, not for a handout, but for a loan with a fair interest rate. I was ready to give it to him. I had the money. I believed in his talent. But Claire intervened. I remember that Sunday lunch perfectly. The way she laid out her case to our mother with the precision of a prosecuting attorney. She spoke of risk, of Leo's unreliable track record, of his artistic temperament. She painted his dream not as a business venture, but as a flight of fancy. "Mother, we can't enable this," she had said, her voice laced with manufactured concern. "It's not responsible. We'd be throwing good money after bad." It broke not only his finances, but his spirit. Our mother,
swayed by Claire's relentless logic, refused a loan. It shattered our family. Leo saw it for what it was, not financial prudence, but a final, brutal rejection. He left the city a month later, and we have barely spoken since. Claire didn't just deny him a loan. She erased him from the family ledger, all to ensure she remained the sole heir to the kingdom. Her first act of ruin was against him. And now she's unknowingly positioned him to be the collateral damage in her final act against our mother. The question is, will I let it happen?
To understand why I would even hesitate to expose my sister, you have to understand Leo. You have to understand what his future, this inheritance, would mean. He was never like Claire and me. We were practical, grounded. Leo was a dreamer. He saw beauty in things we overlooked, the grain of a piece of oak, the way sunlight fell across an old stone wall. Our father used to say, Claire has my ambition, you have my pragmatism, but Leo has your mother's heart. When we were children, and I broke my favorite porcelain doll, Claire told me to throw it away. It's useless now, she said. But Leo spent the entire afternoon with glue and paint, carefully putting the pieces back together. It was never quite the same. The cracks were always visible. But to me, it became more beautiful. He had saved something I loved. It's what he's always done. He saves things. The last time I saw him 2 years ago at a cousin's funeral, he looked worn. The light in his eyes had dimmed. He was working a dead-end job in a warehouse, his hands calloused and rough. Those same hands that could craft a perfect dovetail joint were now just lifting boxes. We spoke for only a few minutes, the distance of years between us like a chasm. He asked about Mother, his voice quiet. He asked about my work. He never once mentioned Claire or the loan. But as he was leaving, he pressed a small, smooth stone into my hand. Found this by the river, he said. Reminded me of the ones we used to collect as kids. A simple gesture, but it was everything. It was a bridge across the chasm, a way of saying, I remember, I still care. This inheritance isn't just money for him. It's a second chance. It's the world finally acknowledging his quiet worth. It's the shop he never got to build, the dream he was forced to bury. And if I save our mother, I have to bury it for him all over again. The awful, complicating truth is that I do have one clear memory of Claire's kindness, a single moment that stands in stark contrast to her calculated cruelty now. It was the winter after my first major heartbreak, when I was 22. The man I thought I would marry left me for my best friend. I was a wreck. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I just stayed in my room, a ghost in my own life. My mother tried to comfort me with soup and platitudes. My father offered stern, practical advice. Nothing helped. Then one night, Claire came into my room. She didn't say a word. She just sat on the edge of my bed and put on a record. David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. It was her favorite, not mine. We sat there in the dark, listening to the entire album, side A and side B. When the final note of rock and roll suicide faded, she finally spoke. He wasn't good enough for you, she said, her voice soft but firm. One day, you'll see that. And then she left. That single act of quiet solidarity, of knowing I didn't need words, I just needed presence, was the most profound act of sisterly love I have ever known. It is a memory I hold on to like a talisman. And it is that memory, the memory of that girl, that makes this choice an agony. Is she still in there somewhere? Is it my job as the matriarch of this broken family to be a warden, bringing swift and righteous justice? Or am I a physician, tasked with the impossible job of trying to heal a disease, even if the patient is the one who poisoned the well in the first place? If I choose the path of ruin, I will make a single phone call to the elder abuse hotline. The doctor's report in my hand will trigger an immediate investigation. Social services will interview my mother, who is too frail and frightened to lie effectively. My sister will be questioned. She will deny everything, of course, using her considerable intelligence to weave a narrative of concern and competence. But the hidden medication bottles, the financial records showing transfers from my mother's accounts to her own, those things don't lie. They will build a case. There will be headlines in our small community, whispers in the grocery store. Her reputation as the perfect, powerful matriarch will be shattered. The criminal charges will be severe: medical neglect, financial exploitation, elder abuse. She will almost certainly face jail time. Our family name will be dragged through the mud, a permanent stain. My mother will be safe, moved to a state-managed facility or placed under my care. But Leo's inheritance, tied as it is to our family's clean record, will evaporate. His one chance at the life he deserved will be the price of my justice. If I choose the path of mercy, I will drive home and I will burn this report. I will bury this secret alongside all the others our family keeps. I will confront Claire privately. I will use the power I now hold, the knowledge of her crime, the threat of exposure, to force her hand. I will demand she reinstate proper medical care. I will insist on transparent financial oversight of our mother's accounts. I will become the de facto guardian of my mother's well-being, a constant, watchful presence my sister will grow to resent. Claire will escape public ruin. She will keep her freedom. She will likely hate me for the rest of our lives, the Cold War between us settling into a permanent, icy stalemate. And Leo will get his inheritance. In 2 or maybe 3 years, when our mother passes peacefully, he will receive the money he is owed. He will build his workshop. He will have his dream. He will never know that his second chance was bought with my silence, with my complicity in covering up the slow, quiet, agonizing harm of our mother. That is the price of his happiness. So now you see the impossible nature of my position. The two paths stand before me, clear and devastating. The path of justice that requires the sacrifice of an innocent, and the path of mercy that requires complicity in a crime. There is no middle ground, no compromise. One document saves my mother, but ruins my brother. The other saves my brother, but condemns my mother to a life of quiet suffering under my sister's cold hand. This isn't just about what I want. It's about what is right. And I no longer know what that is. Tell me, in the comments, which path do I choose? What would you do?